Hello, good evening. Well, it's 6 o'clock, which means only one thing. Of course, we have got the launch of the brand new one-day special, which is Moda. And, you know, we always talk about the quality of Moda. And let me tell you, I cannot stop stroking these fabrics. Now, here to demonstrate for us is the fabulous Jennie. Hello, Jennie.
Hello. It's so lovely to see you. And what super fabrics. When
totally
I
agree.
opened that box and I saw the colours, felt the quality, absolutely, totally ace.
Yes, lovely stuff. So please do get ahead on the website. I know it's going to be a busy show. Now, I do need to tell you that everything's going to be dispatched from the 1st of May, but it is well worth that little bit of a wait. Now, what we've got for you in terms of one-day special is 10 US size fat quarters, and we've got 4 different colour options. So let's take a little bit of a look because this is beautiful. Now, we've called this blue and white on the website, but Jennie and I were reckoning about duck egg.
It's duck egg.
Yeah.
It's a lovely pale tealy blue. It's a glorious colour.
Absolutely stunning. So look, you've got your lovely little spots and dots, florals. That's nice. Oh, nice larger prints.
Absolutely super. That's just a cushion by itself.
Right, indeed.
You don't need to even do anything, no patchwork, no nothing, just a cushion. Or you could take the flowers out and applique them.
Ooh.
But that would be a terrible waste of that lovely fabric.
Oh, no, it's too gorgeous, too gorgeous. More florals with a beautiful sort of pinky feel. And then you've got the reverse of the spots. So,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
Excellent. I mean, I could imagine a beautiful pair of curtains in that.
Couldn't you just?
Yes.
I mean, there's no reason why you can't make patchwork curtains.
Indeed.
Just sew the squares together, or sew strips together, or use it as a border for some cushion. But think of that bedroom. Think of that pretty little... It's just so pretty.
It is indeed. Look, and then you've got your lovely Dipsy florals. That's maybe good for your hexagons,
Yes,
etc.
yes, would work very well. And any Dipsy Prints great before beginners because the colours merge, so you can't see if you've misfired slightly.
Yes, I like that idea. It's almost sort of got vines on this one. We've got a nice stripy one here. And then last but not least, we go onto that beautiful duck egg floral. So that is your first option. We've called it blue and white on the website. Then the second option here, we've got the grey and the white. So if you want something maybe, well, they're both just a nice soft, there's a delicateness to them, isn't there?
Absolutely is. And again, you've got sort of the grey browny colours, again, to mix and match with absolutely anybody's decor. All the same designs again, but just this lovely soft colours. And they really are, Moda does some super fabric, and these are cracking.
Oh, we are getting extremely busy already.
You see, I just want them all.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So wait, there is a way if you do want them all, because we do have a complete collection coming up, which we're going to go through in a short while. So that one is your beautiful grey collection. Isn't that stunning? Okay, and then moving on, we have got the red and the rose. So this is this one, sort of like corally tones.
Yes, it is a corally tone. But again, in the lovely, sort of the big floral one you'll come to in a moment, that is such a pretty fabric.
Oh, this one, look at this.
Oh, it's to die for.
That's my favourite.
It really is. I mean, just cut a square of that out, or just turn the fat quarter, cut a bit off the edge. It's a square. It's an 18-inch cushion. You need do nothing.
Love that. But just look at these colours. This is my favourite set out of the one-day special, I have to say. Love those the little Dipsy Prints. Again, you've got the stripes. Beautiful coral tones there. We've got some of the beautiful spots, and then again we go on to our florals. I cannot tell you how soft this is, really is. So that's your third option. And then you've got the multi. So we've got a little snippet of everything here, haven't we? Look at this. So we're going from here to here, our lovely multi. So we've got a bit of the greys, we've got a bit of the reds. See, that one's really lovely, Jennie.
It's absolutely cracking. It really is. And they just sort of all blend in together.
Ah, nice. Look at that. We've got the greys. So I don't think we've got any repeats, have we, Jennie?
No.
Excellent. No. That's great, because I'm going to give you the details, and then if you want to go for the complete collection. Now, let's do the maths here once we've seen the beautiful fabrics. Right, so on each bundle of 10 fat quarters, you are saving £6.50. Now, times that by 4 and carry it across, because it comes off the complete collection, and then on the complete collection we give you a further £7 saving. So if you would like to go for every single one of these beautiful fabrics, then you can. We're just fixing it because it should be on 3 flexi-buy payments for you too, but we are getting extremely busy. Your fastest way to order is at thecraftstore.com. Right then, 874915. Now what I do want to do is just open up one of these American fat quarters. There you go. It's just to give you an idea, if you're visual.
Yes, it is. And it is. It's 18 inches by 22 inches for those who need that sort of measurement. If you want it in metric, it is something and something.
We'll find out. We can do that. Okay. Oh, hang on. It's just loading. Bless her. Bless her. Our lovely Katie's having to just redo the graphics there. 18 by 22 inch, as Jenny's just said. Lovely jubbly. Oh, come on, graphics, stop messing about. But yeah, it is getting extremely busy. Most of you already are going for the complete collection. Ah, good. Here we go. Here are the graphics. Marvellous. So, as I said, £6.50, £6.50, £6.50, £6.50, all of those carry over, plus you get that further £7 off. Look, there we go, 3 flexi buys instead of 2. So it's 3 payments of 42 for all of these, for 3 payments of £42.32, 874915. Now, if you like to get these in half metres, that's okay, we can accommodate. Have a look on the website. So for the Moda Three Sisters Sanctuary, you're picking any 2 half metres for £14.99. So we've got those absolutely beautiful florals, love those. Beautiful stripe prints. There's the focus print. I love this. See, I love that beautiful floral. I would go for the florals myself, the big florals, because that's my favourite.
Well, if you just want to make feature cushions
Good point,
or feature fabric, then just go for that. You don't need to do anything to it. Just literally cut a square out of it, put something on the back of it, put a pillowcase inside, you know, a cushion pad inside, and you've got it done. I mean, they will be great. If you're going to do some craft sale in the summer, let's face it, we might be doing shows and things. You might be able to sell some things. Those are going to fit anywhere. They're just pretty, really pretty.
Beautiful. We're just about to look actually at some of the fabulous samples that you've made, because the display is wonderful, and then you really see, and it sparks your imagination about how you can be using these. I mean, just look at this cushion.
Right, so that's the rose one, and that features a thing called crossing over the tucks. Very simple to do. You take a big square, it's a big fat tuck one way, big fat tuck the other way. Then beside it, you've got, again using the pink and rose, is a Japanese style bag. Now that does take 2 half metres.
Look at that.
And it's all literally 2 large pieces of fabric, very simple to do. I will demonstrate that at one of the 5 shows.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Then we've got in the middle again, there, again using the pink and rose one, we've got the Ohio Star. And notice the stripes. The stripes just give it such a fresh, clean appeal. And I've used stripes for the piping too. I love stripy piping. Below that, we've got good old Trip Round the World, where I've used the duck egg blue and creamy and again rose collection. Did a bit of fussy cutting in the middle to get that flower bang in the centre.
Yep.
Moving to t'other side, on the very top there, we have a Tuck fan from Fans and Fabrications, followed by a rather nice little quilt that's made up of 2 blocks. Now, this comes from a book by Trudy Hughes.
Okay.
Last time I demonstrated a piece of patchwork from one of her books, and I got her name wrong, so many apologies to Trudy Hughes. I will demonstrate that very shortly this evening, so hang on in there and just get that fabric and let's get into having pretty colours. We need cheering up.
Absolutely, we do. Totally agree. What was I reminding people? Sorry. Oh yes, of course, right. Once it's gone, it's gone. We can't make any phone calls, we can't get any more. So please do make sure you're checking out your baskets. As I said, we are supremely busy. Most of you are going for the complete collection, where you get everything. You'll get 40 fat quarters that are absolutely unctuous. Alrighty, as I said, you can spread the cost 3 ways instead of 2. 874915 is your item number. So you've got a lot of savings. £6.50 times 4 plus an extra £7 off, and £42.32 for your first instalment. We have got queues on the phone lines already. Fastest way is to go to our website, thecraftstore.com. Over to you, Jenny.
Right, I think it's the fastest finger first.
It is already. Oh, that's one of my favourite expressions.
Right, I'm going to be working with the pink and rose, and this is something from the book called Creative Tucks and Texture, which I'm sure Alex will show you in a moment. It's on page 64. And the design I'm doing is called Trumpets. I could have chosen to do it in any of the colourways. I just decided I felt like doing some pink and some rose. Having made the block up and bordered it, I now have a fabulous choice as to what am I going to put as the piping and indeed on the back. I'm slightly tempted to go for possibly that for the piping and maybe that for the back, although I could put a back on using this one and I'd have a cushion where I could have lovely flowers one side, then turn it over for a spot of twiddling and fiddling on t'other.
Yes.
So here we have trumpets. Now, trumpet design is extraordinarily simple to make. It is just squares. And there is on the show, and if you haven't got it, you do need to get yourself a long ruler and a square board. Remember, the square board will cut every side of the square up to 12.5 inches.
Okay.
And the ruler will do 24 inches one way, 6.5 the other. Absolutely cracking to begin patchwork with, or indeed dressmaking or any other craft that requires cutting squares or strips. So to make up this particular design, the centre here is made from the same size squares as these are, as those are.
Okay.
So I chose to go for 6.5 inch squares. Why did I use 6.5 inch squares? Because it fits the ruler.
Good.
So we have a whole series of squares here. You need to decide what you're going to use for the trumpets, and these are the things that are in the middle. So I've chosen to use the pretty floral. The background, I'm using the pink spotty, simply because it makes a nice background and complements this one very well. So the background squares you can just put to one side. We're going to prepare the trumpets. Now, I would take your squares and press it in half with the right side on the outside. We're now going to fold it into a triangle. You're going to fold it in half again. Watch carefully, because what is important is to get the two folds here flush. You want to get those two folds nice and flush, and it will pay you to put a pin in to hold the two folds flush. And if you put the pin in with the pinhead sticking out on the outside, it'll be easy to remove. Now, because there's going to be quite a lot of thick fabric in the seam, what I frequently do, and do this carefully please, is cut off from the inside just a small chunk. And you can then use this small chunk. I think I must have picked up the wrong scissors. Where's the rotary cutter gone to? Let's use the rotary cutter. It's considerably faster. Keep this small trunk. It'll either do as a donkey, and if you don't know about donkeys, you'll probably find out sometime over the 5 hours.
Excellent.
So from the inside, cut off a small chunk, refold it, get those two folds nice and flush, stick a pin in. Repeat 4 times. So very quickly, let's just take a chunk off the inside. And what I want to do over the 5 shows, Alex, is sort of make a cushion from start to finish, at least one cushion, pipe it and put a zip in the back. Then people can see the entire thing, because it's all very well seeing a block. And then you think, well, what do I do with it now? Do be careful when you fold it in half to make certain that cut edge is on the inside.
Yes.
All righty, right, and the last one. So hack a lump off.
A quick stock update for you at home. We are over 10% of the complete collection gone. We're only 12 minutes in. That's how busy it is. And once it has gone, it has gone. So look at all of these in the complete collection. 40 fantastic fat quarters, no repeats, and they will all work together absolutely stunningly. Again, remember, you've got 4 £6.50 savings that carry over, plus an extra £7 saving, and it's 3 payments of £42.32. And again, if you do want to go for Jennie's book, it does come as a set of 2. So you've got your creative tucks and textures, lovely, and then you're also getting, material magic. That's it, £18.94. So where have you got to there?
Right. I've just done one of the 2 halves. If you take 2 of the squares and one of the shapes, we're going to lay the shape so the raw edges along here marry up with one side of the square. You needn't worry at this moment in time which way up it goes. You might want to put another pin in it just to hold it in place and keep all those raw edges together. Put the other square on top, remember it's right sides together, and we're going to sew down here using not a 1/4 of an inch, but you are going to use 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. You might say, why? The reason why is you've got multi-layers. And if you only use a 1/4 of an inch and perhaps you haven't placed it correctly, you're possibly likely to suffer from it falling out of the seam. So 3/8 works well. You could use a bit more, but your design will get somewhat smaller.
Yeah.
So proceeding along in orderly fashion and removing the pins as you go, because we don't sew over pins, do we?
No.
No, miss. Well done. If you're worried about 3/8 of an inch, it's usually needle in the middle of your presser foot and using the line that says 10, or it might say 1 centimetre, or it might even say 3/8. But that slightly larger seam allowance is going to make life considerably easier for you. When you open the piece out, what we need to have is top and bottom a seam allowance, because then I've got room to stitch across here or across there,
right,
and not catch this little Charlie in the seam. Having done that, I would suggest you press your seam open and flat. And I've just realised I forgot to bring an iron in, so I just have to finger press. Dear, dear, dear. Brain these days.
I think we can get you one.
I think I'd probably be all right for the moment.
Okay.
It will pay you to open this shape up and form a kite shape, because then you'll be able to see which end goes to the centre, because you have a choice. You don't have to have them the way round that I have them. You can have them any which way you like. Right, let's see, open this one up. And just give it a quick finger press in the seam.
Yep.
Okay, open it up. There's my shape there. And you'll be thinking, oh, she hasn't dealt with the other ones yet. Yes, you've got 2 more to go. Okay, the design can go together as I had it, with the pointy end to the middle, like that.
Yep.
Or it could have gone together, and the book will take you through this way round, which will give you a subtly different design. Or you can, in fact, have some way and some the other. Sometimes in a class, things get round the wrong way. Right, taking the remaining 2, you're going to lay them so that they all have the raw edges together.
Right.
And this little Charlie touches that one exactly where he comes out of the seam.
Okay.
His friend will go on top. And watch, please. Make sure you've got all the openings in the same place. It's ever so easy to do that.
Right.
Just a different design. Is it wrong? No, it's just a little different. What it would pay you all to do is at the junction here, where they vanish into the seam and touch, would pay you to do a couple of stitches. Now I'm just going to do this roughly, because I can always unpick this and put this together later, but you need to see what's going to happen. So putting the 2 pieces together, sew along, remembering 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, removing pins as you get to them. Now panic not if you're not bang on in the centre, because it doesn't matter that much, because one of the features of this design is it actually looks better with a button in the middle. It gives it a focal point. So
it can
cross
be
the seam in the middle there.
Yep.
Over you go, removing that. This is not the best bit of sewing, but I am standing on one leg. I always feel a bit like a flamingo when I come here, because I have to stand on one leg.
How come you stand on one leg? How come you stand on one leg?
Well, because I've got the other ones on the foot control.
Oh, of course you have. Sorry. What a daft thing to say.
So I'm balanced on my left leg, and my right leg is operating the foot control.
Indeed.
Okay, so when you open it out, you will have a much better centre than I have, won't you? Yes, of course you will do. These things will flatten out an absolute treat and make the same kite shapes. Now, I mentioned a button in the middle. This is where mine is going to need a ginormous button in the middle. Incidentally, I would press the seams open and flat. So you could have, just to save the problem, you see, you could have an enormous button in the middle.
Oh, I like the big one. Yeah.
And if you didn't like the buttonholes in the middle, you could always put a jewel on top.
Oh, yes.
Or you could have a smaller button, or if your points are a little bit better, you could have a medium-sized button, or you could go for small or small. Once you've done this and you're happy with it, remember we can cover up that muddle in the middle. You might want to add something on the corners. And what I did with the corners here was I took more squares that are all the same size, folded them in half, making triangles. I'm not cutting anything off these. Put one onto each of the 4 corners.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Now, top tip is if you lay them on and rotate them round going anti-clockwise, that's that away, when you come to actually stitch them in place, you'll be going with the flow, so to speak. So I'm now going to quickly baste round the outside edge using the longest stitch length on the machine. Now, interesting about the word baste. Basting I have used very often, meaning a long stitch, but it doesn't always mean a long stitch in every country in the world, because tacking is what I was referring to, getting in the muddle.
Okay.
We call it tacking. Everybody else in America and places like that call what tacking basting.
Oh, right.
And getting it all around the right way here, trying to pin it in place. Sit round there, round there. Right, so I'm going to use the longest stitch possible just to go round the edge. It's a holding operation. So take your stitch length and really up it to as far as it'll go. And try and keep the stitching close to the raw edge, because you want it to be hidden when you put the border on the top. So nice long stitches all the way around the raw edge.
Marvellous. May I do another stock update, Jenny?
Sorry?
May I do another stock update,
You may have
Jenny?
another stock update, absolutely.
Now, already 20% of the complete collection has gone. I need to keep stressing to you, once this is gone, this is gone. We cannot get any more stock. We can't be ringing people and going, please, please, please. There is no more. It's been confirmed for us. Right. So, with our beautiful fabrics, you are getting 40 fat quarters, and they really are absolutely delectable. Look at these fabrics, aren't they gorgeous? They are so super soft. Remember, they are an American fat quarter. We're getting 40 of them. Now, you have got this, because you've got 4 different one-day special offers, options, I should say. The £6.50 savings on each one carries over. So this one is your blue and your white. And then we move on to the beautiful grey and white. And then moving on to our red and rose. That's my favourite. And then finally, we've got the multi. Now, each option is £33.49. Now, you can see that it's got that £6 saving. So you do the maths. £6.50, £6.50, £6.50, £6.50, £26. That all carries over, and then you get a further £7 saving knocked off that, and for the complete collection. And as if that wasn't good enough, we've got it on 3 instead of 2 flexi-buy payments. Just trying to make it as affordable for you as possible. So 3 times, 3 payments of £42.32 is your price. 874915. But we are busy. Fastest way is if you can go to our website, thecraftstore.com. Now, if you fancy having these beautiful fabrics in half meters, we can oblige. You can pick any 2 for just $14.99 there. As I said earlier, I would go for the really nice large florals. Those ones, love them. And especially in the red and the rose. That's my favourite. Love it. Absolutely love it. Right then, so do go to thecraftstore.com. But as I said, with these fabrics, once they have gone, they have gone. Righty-ho. Back to you, Jenny.
Thank you. Well, I have now sewn all the way around the outside edge pretty badly. I mean, I'm hoping that you will actually do this a little bit more carefully. And because these squares have been folded on the bias, i.e. the diagonal, that is going to roll back, and that's what's going to make the arc shapes I've got all the way around my centre panel here. It's always a jolly good idea to put something like this on a corner, because otherwise that corner was a bit vacant. Now, top tip would be add the border before you roll these back, and the reason for that is this will roll back onto the border. If we have a look at the finished sample here, you can see it rolls back onto the border. So I added my border before I rolled these pieces back. But you might say to yourself, I don't want to roll the whole thing back. I could actually catch it in the middle and roll it back partially. And then you get a double scalloped edge all the way around. You know, you can play. And this, I think, is a wonderful thing about doing anything with texture, is the ability to play. And when you have any fabric you like folded on the bias, any bias fold rolls back like this. And people say, oh, is it cathedral windows? No, it's not cathedral windows. It just happens to be the way that fabric behaves. And indeed, in cathedral window patchwork, you do get a fold that's on the bias. So that's why you get those arcs. Now, because I've got these little trumpety things, there's a pocket here, and I could stuff something into the pocket. And what I like to stuff into the pocket is a square that's folded in a method called Somerset mitered or folded patchwork. Ooh,
Take
a square, fold the square into a rectangle, right side on the outside. Bring the folded edge over to the middle of the rectangle, and the folded edge over to the middle of the rectangle. This makes a triangle, a bit like a delta wing aircraft. Meow. I've had the grandchildren recently, so That's good. Now, what I would tend to do is put a couple of stitches in the middle just to hold this together, and your thread can be any colour you like. So just hold it in the centre there, stuff the donkey underneath again. Once you've held it in the centre there, this can be stuffed into the pocket. You may find, in order to get it well into the pocket, that it's a good idea just to clip the points off the corners.
Okay.
Now, in order to stabilise the trumpet, I would be inclined to put a small stitch by hand, or, if you're like myself and don't ever use anything by hand, as far as I'm concerned, hand is a dirty word, I would catch this down on the corner using a very short stitch length on the machine and just literally rock across the corner. But stabilise the shape before you stuff the little pooky bit in. If you wish, you might just want to cut the corners off it. And what I would be inclined to do is to make sure you push it well into the little pocket, so that when you roll this edge and stitch it down along the outside here, this little Charlie won't fall out. And I've just picked up the bit of selvage. I have to tell you about this.
Okay.
Written down the selvage.
I saw this, yes.
This is absolutely lovely. It's a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson, and it says, "Adopt the pace of nature. Her secret is patience." Now, I thought, super. Who couldn't resist fabric that had written down the edge peace, tranquility, or that implication?
Absolutely.
So there we are. Trumpets can be done with 4 squares in one colour in the middle, 4 squares around there, 4 more squares on the corner. Tuck your little pooky bits in, roll the edges back. It can then have a border, and at some point in these shows I will then go on to show you how you can pipe it and how you can put a back on the cushion. So there you go, Alex.
Thank you very much. That little bit that you pop in, it looks like a little tongue sticking out.
Yes, it does. There it is.
Very cute indeed. Right then, so the complete collection is absolutely flying out the door. Remember, everything's going to be dispatched from the 1st of May. Once this is gone, it's gone, so don't hang about. If you think, I'll get it tomorrow morning, because remember, we've got a show at 8 p.m. tonight, and that show gets repeated throughout the early hours of the night. And there are, believe it or not, there are a lot of people that shop through the early hours. There really are. So for the full collection, you've got your 4 times £6.50 savings carried over from each options of the one-day special. So that's up to £26. Plus you've got a further £7 saving. Don't miss out on this. You can spread the cost 3 ways, 3 payments of 40, it'll come onto screen in a second. Thank you, £42.32. 874915 is your item number. Okie dokie. Now, we've got a layer cake for you. You may have seen this before. Now, we did have a cream option. That's gone. But we do have the white option still remaining. So you've got 42, oh, it feels so good, 42 10-inch squares here, and they are beautiful. Jenny, what would you tend to use your layer cakes for?
For one of these.
For one of them, perfect.
Yes, for this particular cushion that camera is going to come to in a minute.
Ah, excellent. There you go.
So this, in fact, is all made with a layer cake. And actually, it's a class I'm teaching at the Creative Craft Show on Facebook Live on Saturday. So you can tune in and watch that. And if you bought the layer cake, you'll see what to do with your layer cake.
Excellent.
So that also, the design comes from the Sew Pieces book, which is behind you. It's the one on the top shelf with the purple job.
There, and I've got it here, actually.
You've got it there, you've got one there.
So for your layer cake then, it's in the white, it's £47.49, 540070. And then, yes, if you want to make this fabulous cushion, oh, it's on the front there you go, then you absolutely can. Now, this is only £9.95 for this book, but there's loads of things. Oh, I love fabric boxes, Jenny.
Yes, they are. They're really, really, really good. If I'd had enough of the stuff, I'd have made one in the Moda fabrics. But sadly, you need a fusible that's got stiffening that's got fusible on both sides, ideally.
Right. Oh, look at that heart decoration. That's a stunner as well. Oh, there's so many fabulous ideas here. So do check this out. You've got a sling bag. Proper upper, I like that. for your tablets maybe. Glasses cases, camera cases. It is marvellous. Just £9.95, loads of inspiration in here. Item number is 725963. Still, we've got queues on the phone lines. Do go to our website at thecraftstore.nearly.com. Over to you, Jenny.
Right, I'm going to now demonstrate the Ohio Star, which I've done in the duck eggs. It really is, it's such lovely, lovely, pretty fabric. And I just couldn't resist a bit of fussy cutting in the centre and then a spot of twiddling and fiddling. And I bet you can all guess what size squares, what size shapes I used to do there. I've given you the answer. They were squares.
Okay.
With the little pooky bits of Somerset tucked in. But it's these pieces I wanted to explain. And you will find that on the show we have got the easy angle triangle and the companion angle. The companion angle is the one that does quarter squares and the easy angle does your half squares. They have all the seam allowances built into them. And the idea is that if you look at the measurements going up the side there,
yeah,
these are the size of strips you cut. Your finished size will be ½ an inch less. So if you cut a 2.5 inch strip, you'll end up with a 2 inch half square triangle when finished. This one, the size of strips you cut goes down the middle, and down the sides here is the finished size of the square that will be made out of 4 quarter square triangles. So if you were to cut a 2.5 inch strip, 4 quarter square triangles, when put together, would make a 4 inch finished square, which is what I'm doing here. Because the Ohio Star works very nicely in 12, because there are 3 units here and 3 4s make 12.
Yeah.
You could do it in 9, you could do it in 15, but the Ohio Star is really a basic 9 patch. 3 units across there, so any nice measurements divisible by 3 would work an absolute treat. To do the half squares on the triangle on the corners here, I've cut 4.5 inch strips. Remembering I'm going to end up with a 4 inch square. Top tip with this is to take your 2 colours that you've chosen, and these are the lovely duck egg ones, and put them right sides together, because they're already in their little sets when you come to sew them. So pop them right sides together.
Yep.
If there's any selvage on the end, just trim the selvage off, and you can use one of these triangles just to trim it off quickly. There we are. Flip the fabric over. Now I'm right-handed, so I will have the fabric on my right and the ruler will creep in from the left.
Got you.
And because it's a 4.5 inch strip, I bring the triangle there so the 4.5 inch mark is in the top corner. Cut up here. Unlike some other templates, when you've made that first cut, you don't move the fabric, you flip the template over.
Right.
And that little black section hangs off the bottom. Why? Why does it have that? Well, this is actually going to save you 3/8 of an inch on every strip you cut, and also chops off very conveniently one of the little dog ears. So there is what are my 4.5 inch half square triangles. You'll need to make 4 sets of these, and they're all ready together for me to sew down the diagonal using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Please do check your 1/4 inch seam allowance. When you sew all the way down there, I suggest you press the seam open and flat,
okay,
and you'll end up with 4 of these. Right, that's dealt with the corners of the Ohio Star here. Let's deal with the section here, which has 4 quarter squares. So it's not the original triangle here, not that one, it comes to this one. I need to end up with a 4 inch block, so what do I cut? I cut a 2.5 inch strip.
Yep.
So where's my 2.5 inch strips, which were here a minute ago? There they are. And I have actually already cut some of these off. If you pile your fabrics together, you can cut through with a rotary cutter probably up to 8 or even 16 layers at the same time, depending on the size of your rotary cutter.
Yeah.
But I've layered my fabrics. This is a 2.5 inch strip. Make sure they're all together. If you don't feel as brave as I am, then you could, of course, cut them individually. It just takes a bit longer.
Yeah.
Pop it on the top there, cut off. So I'm going to retrim this because it might have moved in the driving up here. Cut it off, flip the fabric over. I'm right-handed, so the ruler comes in from the right. If you're left-handed, then it would be the other way around. You'd have the fabric there, bring the ruler in from the right because it begins with an R, and you would cut up there. They work right and left-handed.
Excellent.
So let's cut those, and that will make up my quarter square units. You're now going to sew them together, and this is where you can go horribly wrong because you've got to think about which ones you sew to which one. All right, there is the design.
Okay.
So I am going to now stitch that set to there and that set to there, and you need to make very certain you sew down the correct side, which is that side and indeed that side, Because
Right.
if you then do what we all do, is you turn it round in your hand and you realign it, you'll find it won't fit together in the correct way. When you've done the various bits and pieces and sewn them together, it's going to end up looking like this. And you need 4 units. So you'll do that cutting out 4 times with each of the fabric. Having got the units together, here we are, you'll need a centre. And I can't say this enough, if you ain't got a big square, then you really do need to get it, because this big square will allow you to fussy cut
Wonderful.
any size of square from literally ½ an inch, which would be daft to cut because your seam allowance would absolutely take it on board, right up to 12½ inches. It's great for scrapbookers or for anybody who wants to cut or measure fabric or paper or anything.
Excellent.
So there's my centre block. To do the little design I've got round here, I will then take 4 small squares. Now, this is technically a 4½ inch raw edge. Its finished measurement is 4.
Yeah.
Half of 4 is 2, so I'm going to cut my squares. 2 is the finished measurement, so what do I cut? 2½. And I will put one of these onto each of the corners, remembering if I go round anti-clockwise, I'll be able to tack round the outside edge. There we go. Right, so there's my centre, and then you can start arranging it. This one will go here, and that will go there, and this one will go there, and that one will go there. And now I'll put the corner sections on, which is one corner section could go here, and one corner section could go there, and one there, and one over there. So that is the Ohio star. Now, when it comes to sew it together, I wouldn't sew my star design together doing 1, 2, 3. I would do those 2 together,
Yeah.
those 2 together, and stitch that pair to
Got
the
you.
other pair, making a square, because that seems nice and easy in the middle there.
Uh-huh.
I then join these 2 and put them together, and you'd only have 1 row of 3. And my suggestion would be is when you sew any of these together, is I would go from the thinner end, which is in this case this side, off the thicker end.
Okay.
Because it's easier to start on a thinner surface and then sew off a thicker surface than it is to start at the chunkier end, which sometimes gets screwed up underneath your presser foot. So I would go that way up the section, so that you avoid having to have the thick end underneath. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
So there you go. So that's your. And if you hadn't liked it like that, Alex, you could have turned it round the other way, and you could have played with it and had it doing something completely
that's
different.
nice.
If you happen to fancy. You know,
Oh, yes, I like that as well. Yeah.
these fabrics just go together. So whether you buy the whole lot or whether you just buy one set, these are truly, truly super fabrics.
Amazing. Thank you, Jenny. I think we'll have time for another demo if you're happy
We
with
will
that.
indeed.
Excellent. Right then. Okay, a reminder of the one-day special options. You're getting 10 fat quarters and we've got 4 colour options. So you've got your blue and white, which is what we've called it on the website, but I insist it is duck egg, because there we go. Let's have a look. Oh, this one is currently in the lead.
duck egg?
The duck egg out of these options.
See, I like that one best.
Yeah, yes, so do our viewers, so do our viewers. So we've got the lovely duck egg spots with the white background. Then you've got your florals, and then this is the print that I love the most. That big, big, bold pattern. And as Jenny says, that is a cushion there in itself. Just that. It looks beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Then we go on to our florals that have got those little bits of pink in. And then we've got sort of your positives and your negatives with the spots. Same with the florals in terms of the colourways. Our Dipsy pattern, really pretty indeed. Then I kind of call these almost like vines or veins, amazing. This, I have to say, this I think would make a really nice, if you had enough of it, like you can make a pair of pyjamas in the stripy one.
That is a shirt or something
A shirt,
like that.
yeah, I think that's fab.
Even for a small child, a new baby. I mean, you've actually got things. I mean, if you're going to go for blue for a boy and pink for a girl, you've got them, a nursery. Just think of a nursery quilt.
That would, oh yes, I like
Ace.
that. Stunning. And then last but not least in this one, we've got that beautiful soft floral. So that is the blue and the white as your first one-day special option. Then we've got the grey and the white, but there's still a hint of the pinks in because then it matches the other sets that we've got. So it's almost like a beautiful mushroom shade in the background. Nice. And then again, we go on to our fabulous florals. And these, because they're a little bit more of a neutral, they will go with your home decor. They will go with pretty much anything. Now this, if you can see, there's white spots on there. That's fabulous. That would be another great blouse, wouldn't it? Really pretty with the Dipsy Florals. Then we move on to our whites. Look at that lovely grey and white floral, and then the stripy. So that is your grey and your white colour option. Then my personal favourite, the red and the rose. Once more, you've got your beautiful spots, fantastic florals. Then you get the softer florals, and just look at that. That is awesome. I love that. Then we've got our Dipsy Prints, another set of beautiful Dipsy Prints. We've got the stripes, lovely colourway there. Then the spots, and then those florals. So that's your red and your rose. And last but not least, if you can't decide, we've got the multi. So we've got a little bit of everything here. And you can see that they still all work together. And then our beautiful florals there with that mushroomy background. And then here you go. Here is that absolutely delicious colour tone there with the florals, stripes, Dipsy Prints. Absolutely marvellous. Again, I need to stress that these are your American size fat quarters. So that, if you're visual, that is the size. 18 by 22 inch. I mean, I think that would make a fabulous cushion in itself, wouldn't it? So now, with each one day special colour option, you've got a £6.50 saving. Really good price. Now, £6.50 times 4, because they all carry over, is £26. And then on the complete collection, which the majority of you are going for, there is a further £7 off. It's £126.96, and we've spread the cost 3 ways for you. Again, I need to stress that once this is gone, this is gone. We cannot get any more fabric. So that's why I'm saying check out your baskets now. Don't leave it till later. Don't leave it till tomorrow, because you'll be really sad if you've missed out on it. I do also need to stress that when you put something in your basket, it only stays in there for about 10 minutes. So make sure you're checking out as quick as you can. Otherwise, it'll bounce back and somebody else might nab what you want. So 3 payments of £42.32. 874915 is your item number. Do have a look at the website, because we've got half meters of these fabrics as well. Bottom of the screen if you want those, 2 half meters for £14.99, 191366. Now, if you are new to us here at the craft store, then we're going to tell you a little bit about becoming a member of our free... Oh, no, we're not. We're going to tell you a bit about Flexi Order.
What is Flexi Order? When you place an item on FlexiBuy in your basket, you qualify for Flexi Order, which means any other items you add to your basket will also be included in your FlexiBuy payments. So you can spread the cost over multiple monthly payments. After your first payment is made, your entire order will be dispatched. When you add at least £60 worth of any items to your shopping basket, either online or on the phone, you'll qualify for our Flexi Order offer. This means you can spread the cost of your order over equal monthly FlexiBuy payments, offering you extra flexibility when you shop with us. Flexi Order, making your shopping experience with the craft store easier.
Lovely jubbly. So we have got just under 15 minutes. Jenny, what would you like to show us?
I'm going to show you how to make this little cock quilt I got at the back here.
Oh, I like that.
And I use the sort of the soft browny grey colours, but I also use the pink from the bundle at the end.
The red rose, yeah.
The red rose one. So all of these, but you could do it in any colours you like, and it's basically 2 blocks. It's a hexagon block or a faux hexagon block, and then it is another block that uses something called partial seaming. So let's deal with the partial seaming block first, and there's a finished partial seaming block.
Okay.
You will require, and this happens to be a 6.5 inch raw edge to raw edge block, and it's a design that came from, it's not my idea, it came from the Trudy Hughes book. This was the one that I had, the design I had in last time, where I showed you about the ribbons and the bows one there. So I doubt whether you can still get this. I used to think I've had it 30 odd years or something like that.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, how Trudy describes how you make this is you will want a centre square. So I got a 2.5 inch centre square. I then got 4 strips that are 2.5 inches by 4.5 inches. And these are going to be stitched around the centre block. One's going to go there, and one's going to go there, and one's going to go there, and one is going to go there. How you do it is like this, is take the first strip, and you're going to be working around going clockwise. Lay the first strip on top, right sides together. Set your machine to do a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, please, because it has to be a 1/4 of an inch, so please be careful. And you're going to do partial seaming. You don't stitch the entire piece, just stitch a little bit at the bottom. This is probably where your donkey is going to be a little bit useless. So just partially stitch that seam. When you've partially stitched the seam, you'll need your scissors, which have walked. There we go. Open it out, and you can see I've left a gap. The next one will go right the way along here, and this is one of the few designs where, in fact, your seam is going to go outwards.
Okay.
Just do it. That one will fit on top, an absolute treat if your seams have been accurate. And if it doesn't, we'll check your seam allowance. And now my machine's just become unthreaded, which is quite useful because it gives me a chance to remind you all that when you come to thread your sewing machine needle, if you wet the needle, not the thread, and you cut your thread at a 45-degree angle, it should go through, providing, of course, you can see it, an absolute treat.
Oh, I've never heard of that before. I love all these tips.
If you suck the thread, Alex, then the thread will swell slightly. But if you wet the needle, and this means sort of moisten finger and thumb, please, folks. Do not bend down and try to spit on the needle. It doesn't work, okay?
Have you tried it?
I don't want to have anyone complaining they've just stitched their tongue to the throat plate. Oh, I know. Really, really, really painful. So there we are. We have that one stitched onto there. Turn it round again, add the next one, and this again will go right the way from one end to t'other. Seam's going towards the outside edge. You can sew off your donkey. Down the next little bit, flick the seam away from you. Get to the bottom, retrieve said donkey. Go on, donkey. I think we call this donkey Ethel. This might be another one.
Ethel the donkey.
Ethel the donkey. Open it up, and the last one's going to go along here, and it will fit a treat, providing your seams are accurate, which of course they will be, won't they? Yes, miss. I do like obedient students, and they're all sitting there saying, yes, miss, we'll do this, yes, miss. Right, to the end, grab donkey, stuff him on the bottom, snip. Right, now you can see why it's called partial seaming, because I now come back to the first one, flip it over and complete the seam. This is frequently used in many different patchwork designs, and it's something you all need to know.
Right.
So partial seaming is sew the first bit partially and then attach all the others from one end to t'other, and finally finish off the seam. So that's that block. Let's just deal with the next one. We've got time. Yes,
yeah,
we've got
we
plenty
have
of
indeed.
time. So there's block number one. The second block that makes that design will be a cut 6.5 inch square, so it's the same size as that. And then I differed from the book because she was putting half square triangles on the corners. It's much easier to do this. So these are 2.5 inch squares. And you can treat these in two ways. You can either press them in half to get a decent crease down the middle, or you can draw a line down the centre. Now, you will put the same colour onto every other square. So the design is made up of squares made up of this, and also squares made up of these with, say, 4 of those on the corners, or this same middle square and 4 of the floral ones on the corners.
Yeah.
It's your choice as to which one you choose to do first. But I'm going to take the floral ones, which I've pressed in half. Lay one square onto the corner, and all you're going to do is sew down the crease, all right, down the crease. Or if you've drawn pencil lines on the back, down the pencil line. Choice is yours. And we're going to put one onto each of the 4 corners. Make sure they go diagonally across the corner. Pin it on. Now you can actually, if you're feeling really clever, save fabric and not have any waste, which I'll explain in just a moment. So each of those go onto the corners, one there and one on the other corner there. And then all you're going to do is sew down the crease line. Okie dokie, so underneath the machine, you haven't got to worry about actually doing any seam allowance at all, so needle wants to go back into the middle, and all you're going to do is sew down the crease line, or the pencil line. Down one, jump, down the next one. I tend to jump quite a lot when I'm stitching because that means I then save the thread.
Yes.
It's trouble, sometimes it gets caught around the presser foot as it's about to. Now, slip it down the next one. Jump again and down the next one. Let's just go down there quickly. This foot is a bit of a pain. It has a thread inlet on the wrong side. And finally down the last one. And then I'll show you a little trick that if you wanted to save fabric, you could actually use the waist that I'm about to cut off. Right, so there is my block. It's now got 4 corners on there.
Yeah.
And all I now need to do is to basically cut off the excess fabric. So cut off the excess fabric across there. But if you then chose to do another line of stitch, you actually could cut the corner off. The other line of stitch needs to be at least a 1/4 inch away from the original line of stitch. Because I can't bear wasting fabric, and this is too pretty to waste. So what I can do is cut up the centre line there with my rotary cutter, which has gone walkabout. Where's it gone to? Vanished. There.
Is it under the book?
Oh, it's all right, it's down there. That's it. And then I get 1 square made of those 2 colours, and I could use lots of those for perhaps a miniature patchwork.
That's cute.
This one then folds back. Just cut all the corners off, and that forms the other block. So if we now go to the quilt at the back, I can show you where the blocks go, and if you freeze your screens and do a screenshot, you'll have a picture of the quilt to copy later. So if we go to this one here, there is my block that fits there. Let's get it round the right way, on the diagonal.
Yep.
And there is the block that goes there.
Got you.
So now you know how to make Trudy Hughes quilt.
It's beautiful, and I have to say I love the quilt.
And the colours are so superb, Alex. They really are. They're just delightful colours. Have a go. It's easy.
Excellent stuff. Right then, so just to finish off then, if you are just joining us, I'm going to stress that we cannot get any more of these fabrics. Once they have gone, they have gone. We can't make a phone call and go, please, 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 can we have some more? We can't. Also, just to say, all these fabrics are going to be dispatched from the 1st of May. Not too long to wait, and it's worth it because these are absolutely divine, these fabrics. So you've got options for your one-day special, and then there is a complete collection. Okay, you're getting 10 US size fat quarters, and this is the beautiful blue and white. So this one is in the lead, over 20% of the stock gone. So you're liking this beautiful duck egg blue. Oh, see that, Jenny?
Absolutely superb. I love that fabric.
Absolutely beautiful. Look at this, and we've got the dots and spots. Absolutely gorgeous. I want to see those as like kitchen blinds.
Yes, yes.
I can totally see that.
Well, if you've got ½ meters of it, you probably could.
That's a good point. Have a look on the website. Oh, in fact, they're at the bottom of the screen for your ½ meters there. I really like this one. Like you said, I could see a nice shirt in that. And then that beautiful softness to that pattern is gorgeous. Then we move on to our beautiful greys and whites, but that you have still got, which will tone fantastically, those little hints of pink and red, which is so nice.
The whole thing mixes and matches together remarkably well.
And then look at that. That's very nice. It's quite striking, that one.
I liked that one.
Yeah.
That is more, that's elegant, that one.
Yes.
Yes,
Like
definitely
that
elegant.
idea. And then we go on to our dots and spots. Lovely Dipsy florals. And you can see here, this has got the spots on. I really like that. It's just a little finish off, isn't it? Now, and then, see, these ones I think are nice for the backs of cushions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Those ones, wonderful. So that is your grey and white. Then we move on to the red and the rose. Is that right? Excellent. Okay, so we've got our beautiful corally colours, and then onto the florals. Look there, and this one, favourite. Can't help myself. The Dipsy Prints, again, more Dipsy Prints, very elegant. Going on to the stripes. I love that. That actually looks like coral. Do you know when I look at this? Do you know what I mean? And then we've got our spots and more florals here. And then last but not least, we have got the multi. But don't worry, because there aren't any repeats from any of the other ones. So if you're going for the complete collection, which most of you are, then you're not going to get the repeat. you know what I'm saying. Anyway, so beautiful, beautiful fabrics. Again, I can't tell you how soft they are. They're all 100% cotton.
They're absolutely 100% cotton. They sew beautifully. They will wash beautifully. And I really do have to show you that. They're your favourite fabric.
Please show
Look,
this.
Look, this is it's out of the Sew Pieces book. It's a Japanese style bag, and it comes literally from 2 rectangles. But that fabric is cracking, and then you've got the stripy one inside.
I just love that. Oh, it's a real, like, people would literally stop you and go, where did you get that from?
So pretty. So
it is
really, really, really pretty. Yep.
Nice. Okie dokie. So you'll see on screen that for each of these options, each of these 4 options, there's a £6.50 saving. All of those savings carry over, so that's £26 saved already, and then a further £7 off. So for the complete collection, if you want it all, it is £126.96. But don't worry, we've spread the cost for you. I'm so glad we're able to do this more and more now. Whereas instead of, we used to only be able to do sort of 2 flexi buys in the beginning, but now we can do 3 flexi buys for you. 3 payments, then of £42.32. We are almost a quarter of the stock gone. Very busy now. We've got a deep stock here. So the fact that a quarter has gone in 1 live hour just says how much you are liking this. Yes, 3 payments of £42.32. 874915. Very quickly, if you do want your half meters of fabric, all these beautiful fabrics, you are picking any 2 for just £14.99. 191366. But we cannot get to any more of these beautiful fabrics. Do not leave it there. Still, we're busy on the phone lines. Do go to thecraftstore.com to check out your basket. So Jenny, what do you think you're going to be doing in the 8 p.m?
Well, I think I'm going to put the piping on the cushion that I made earlier. I'm going to do something with the teal ones.
Yes.
And I'm going to probably do something, I might even do the pineapple thing that's at the top of you, on the bag on the very top behind your head. Bud material magic.
Amazing. I am intrigued. Thank you so much, Jenny.
Thank you.
Lovely. Don't go anywhere. More after this.